morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Atlanta Discuss. I'm still your host and moderator. My name is still Ade Balogo. I always say good morning, good afternoon, good evening because people listen to us on all the 7 continents of the world, from Australia to Europe, Africa, Asia, North America, and South America. We have contingent everywhere. They listen to us, they get back to us. Some people say, oh, are they in Nigeria all the time? I say, yes. Nigeria is the largest concentration of Black people anywhere in the world. So what you want to know about that is that 1 out of every 4 sub-Saharan African is Nigerian. 1 out of every 6 Black people in the world is about Nigeria. We've spoken a lot about America. We've spoken a lot about Asia. We've done a lot of monarchies, but Nigeria, as you know, needs a lot of attention currently, and the diaspora contingent want to play a role. That's why we're talking about how the Nigerian diaspora contingent can work productively with the government of Nigeria. That's why we have today another great guest and a fantastic entrepreneur, a philanthropist par excellence. His name is Alhaji Akeem Bello. Alhaji Akeem Bello, welcome to Atlanta Discuss.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Balogun, for being here with
Thank you, Alhaji. Yes. Alhaji is a realtor, is a businessman, is the CEO of Country Built Logistic LLC in Atlanta, also the CEO of Country Built LLC in Houston, Texas. He is the CEO of Realtor Scope Holdings Nigeria Limited in Abuja. They are currently embarking on projects that are running to billions of naira. So Alhaji is also a member of NIDOA. NIDOA is a Nigerian Diaspora America chapter. He is from the Atlanta chapter, and also you can see his domicile in both Houston and Atlanta. So he has a lot of experience in what we want to talk about. I mean, for someone that's well entrenched in the business system in Nigeria, that's well entrenched in the diaspora setting, he's also a Nigerian American. He's a very extremely well educated, someone that's worked hard for his money, and he's the kind of person we want. He's an ambassador par excellence. So Alhaji, in Atlanta Discuss, we try and cut the ground running, but majorly what we do here is we embrace facts, to embrace humanity, say the truth, just go honest all the time. We embrace politics, art, history, and, faith-based issues. So we just go for the fact like we always do. So Alhaji, the first question is, how do you think, the government of Nigeria can actually embrace the diaspora contingent positively? As you know, the NIDOA, as we said, was established by President Obasanjo. And Indians have helped, the Indian diaspora have helped nurture a good focal point for India. And India is on a fantastic trajectory, despite a little bit of shortcoming. So in your own words, how do you think the diaspora contingent can work with the government of the day to push the country forward? Over to you, sir.
Thank you for having me. In the first place, there must be the inner will to get it done. When you consistently think on how to fashion a way out, even when you start from a point of a blank spot, by the time you consistently engage in thinking about it, you start seeing how to go about it. For instance, if you are in a room now, it's in the night, you have everywhere well lit, bright, and suddenly the light goes off. Initially, everywhere will be very dark. But when you are patiently seated where you are, without anybody lighting any bulb, you start seeing things gradually, slightly. You'll be seeing things even in that darkness. That is because at no point in the time of a human being do we want to keep our eyes closed except when we are sleeping. We have this constant and persistent urge to view things around us. Even when you are punishing children and you tell them, close your eyes, face the wall, they are facing the wall, but they are opening the eye, they are blinking the eye, they don't want to close it. So what I'm trying to say is having that desire, that determination to collaborate with the diaspora contingent by the Nigerian government, and the willingness and determination of the diaspora contingent to work with Nigerian government must first be established. If that is not established, we'll just be laboring in vain. I've spoken to a number of Nigerians that are well-to-do in the diaspora, that once you mention Nigeria, they don't even want to hear the next thing you want to talk about.
I used to be like that.
Okay. So that is because of some experience they've had in the past about Nigeria. But we need to move beyond that. we need to be realistic that no matter what we become anywhere we are, America is one country that will accept you wholeheartedly, regardless of where you're coming from. But even at that, when you are still being referred to as African American, yes, you are American, you are US citizens, all of us are US citizens, yes, but we are still African American. Our DNA will always read Africa. So we should know that that is a fact of life. And we shouldn't waste our time on trying to change a fact of life. When things are changeable circumstances, yes, we can do all we can to make sure we change changeable circumstances. Now, if there is that willingness, how can this happen? I think there are about 3 to 4 ways of getting it done. In the first place, luckily and thankfully to the ex-president Obasanjo, the establishment of Nigerian diaspora movement at that time, it wasn't a commission at that time. The Nigerian diaspora organizations were established in other parts of Africa, in Europe, in America. Then later on, there was a House committee on diaspora headed by Honorable Abike Dabiri at that time, before they established the Nigerian Diaspora Commission that she's heading now. That is a very good vehicle to leverage on, to work with. There should be formal, consistent, intentional relationship with Nigerian Diaspora Commission and Nigerian Diaspora Organization. Yes, the Nigerian Diaspora Commission can handpick some Nigerians that are doing very well, say this one is the best orthopedic surgeon in the world, is a Nigerian, is in America, we can identify him. Yes, you are identifying an individual. You can get the best atomic scientist that is a Nigerian in diaspora. The commission can identify people like this, but those people, they are just individuals. There's a limit to what an individual can do. When the Nigerian Diaspora Commission decides to work fully with Nigerian Diaspora Organization, that is when they will be able to put to optimal use, optimal deployment of the resource they have in the Nigerians in diaspora that they have identified individually. For instance, somebody can be the best brain in ICT, in cybersecurity. Another person can be a very good entrepreneur in real estate, for example, who had succeeded in diaspora. Another person can be a renowned educationist that has succeeded so well in America. All of these people individually, you will just be telling their profile in Nigeria. But by the time you put them together, they can now decide to do maybe like a training system that the ideas will come from the person that is educationist. The person that is the IT person will put the necessary IT infrastructure that will help the training. Then the businessman can come up with some little funding that will now make it a package that can work to train people back in Nigeria. And that takes me to the second point. When we engage NIDOA and Nigerian Diaspora Commission, we should also think of how directly we want to impact on the people in Nigeria. People don't forget people who impact positively on them. They might not be grateful, but they will not forget you. They might not tell you a thank you, but they do not forget you have been good to them. And in actual sense, we shouldn't be good to them because we want a thank you from them. We should be good to them because we want to add value to them. We want to add value to where we come from. Once that is our mission, we won't be deterred about whether they tell us thank you or they don't tell us thank you. We will only focus on what we have to offer to them. And again, there could be this engagement where there is a platform, like you can call it a chamber of commerce, where ideas will be exchanged. For instance, you have somebody in Nigeria who wants to trade with used laptop, iPhone that he's going to order from eBay. But sometimes it's looking at the logistics of gathering them somewhere, ordering it one by one will be a lot costlier. That person can identify another person in America who wants to sell ashoke to people in America. So instead of the person in America ordering one national cake from Isheni, another one from Ilorin, another one from Okoye, this person he has identified can help him coordinate that from Nigeria, get them as a bulk parcel, sent to the person in America. The person in America can help the person get all of the things he has ordered on eBay and get them as a parcel and send to Nigeria. And again, it could even get to the point that, okay, this is the value of what you are sending to me. This is the value of what I'm sending to you. They just send the net balance. They don't have to be looking for Naira or dollar all the time. The person here has dollar, the person there has Naira. Get what I need from it, they are sent to me. I get what you need here for you, I send to you. But that can only happen when they have a platform to even know each
One
other.
another.
If they don't know
true.
one another, that cannot happen. That is why I've always been talking about, do we even know one another here? How much of ourselves do we know? If they ask anybody now, it's just a guesswork. How many Nigerians are in Houston? How many Nigerians are in Dallas? How many Nigerians are in Atlanta? You made reference at the beginning of this conversation to the Jewish community, to the Indian community. They have database. They have information. All of those things are not just happening. They are not miracles. They plan to let it happen the way it is happening. And we can't wait for perfection. We can't wait until when everybody wants to listen to us. A lot of people, when you are talking to them, they tell you things that want to even discourage you from what you are doing. So, which in Nigeria, forget. No, we will not forget because it is just that one Nigeria that we came from. And we can put ourselves together and do great things together. But that is only when we know ourselves, when we have a meeting of mind on the purpose why we are meeting, when we have sincerity of that purpose, and when all of these things are available, then engagement becomes a piece of cake. That's the way I feel.
Fantastic. I like your analysis. And the key word there is synergy. Because which goes to the next question I was going to ask you, because I have observed, and I'm sure you agree with me, that individually Nigerians do very well in the diaspora.
Yes.
There's so many record of individual successes here and there. This guy's a rocket science, hydropower professor. There's almost no major achievement in any developed country in the world that you don't have one or two Nigerians that are involved in that endeavor. I remember the late M.K. Abiola during the debate during June 12 mentioned that even the Chernobyl power plant in Ukraine, the nuclear power plant that exploded, the number 2 man there at that time was in Nigeria, And I'm sure you also agree with me that the most educated contingent to most countries, maybe not all, but at least to 80% of the countries in the developed world are Nigerians. In America, right now, where we both are, Nigerians are the most educated immigrants, and these are facts that everybody talks about. So my question to you is that individually we do well. You have said it has to be done with synergy. We have to come together, Why is it so hard for us to be like the Irish, the Jewish, the Italian, to come together and forge a common front? Because it does look like tribe, ethnic-based issue, and religion are like a cog in the wheel of progress. What can we do? I know you're a member of NIDO just like me. There's a lot of effort going on to bring everybody together for the ship to sail in the same direction to better modern Nigeria. But the question is, why is it so difficult for us to come together? And what are the efforts that we can put forward to make that union a permanent thing? Over to you, sir.
We need to conquer our fear. We have this impression that once you share your ideas, you tell your friend, your fellow Nigerians how you are doing it. He's not thinking of how he's going to create his own niche. He's thinking of how to close your own door before he breaks the wall to establish his own route. That's the mentality we have. But we need to conquer that fear.
How do we conquer it, sir?
Yes.
How do we conquer this?
We conquer it by believing that, okay, in the first place, I'm not saying we should let loose all our guard, but I also want us to realize that we are not saved because we want to be saved. We are saved because we have positioned ourselves to be saved, not just because we want to be saved. If you want to be safe, and every time you are in a place where there will be sporadic shooting, where people will take drug and they will break bottles and they will be stabbing one another, you have exposed yourself. So what I'm saying is everybody cannot be bad. You be careful in choosing who comes to your box 18. But once you allow people to get into your box 18, I mean, there will be 22 players on the pitch. Maybe it's just one or two that will get into the box 18. Once anybody gets into the box 18, feel comfortable a bit to share ideas. The best of ideas are wasted on the graveyard. You can't bottle everything up until you die. You can't be afraid of betrayal from cradle to grave, from when you are a child till when you are dead. At a particular time, we should conquer this fear and learn to work with people. But that does not mean we should not keep our safety nets, but we should conquer this fear. That is the major problem, because
we can't live in isolation. Yeah,
we can't live in isolation. These Indian people, when they come around, instead of exposing somebody to go and be running after rent and this and that, they accommodate that person. That person is saving money. Instead of going to pay rent, he will one day just go and make a deposit and be paying mortgage. Other people are coming, they are staying in his house too. That's how they keep on buying and multiplying. It's not as if every Indian is a faithful friend to another Indian. They backstab too, they betray too, but they do not let that make them forget that patriotism. Patriotism is a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice. We just need to learn to be patriotic. We need to learn to love Nigeria. When we love Nigeria first, we will love Nigeria. Somebody who doesn't love your father cannot be your friend, cannot love you.
Yeah, but Alhaji, you said we have to love Nigeria. Well, you just said when we started that most of the people you spoke to about Nigeria, they don't want to hear about Nigeria. There's a reason they don't want to hear about Nigeria. You understand? Because they have bad experiences. And I'm sure we both agree that Nigeria at 63 is way, way behind schedule. I mean, I'm of the opinion that if we have square pegs and square holes, bringing Nigeria out of the abyss is not particularly a difficult thing. So which goes to my next question here. Do diaspora, let's say NIDO, for example, there are a lot of people in NIDO that believe that we have to engage government positively, we have to hobnob with them, walk into the seat of power, exchange idea, which is one of the things we're talking about. There are also people that feel, for example, in the Nigerian diaspora contingent, whether NIDO or no NIDO, that feel that NIDO can add value without engaging with government. Nigerians in diaspora, non-NIDO members can also add value without engaging government. And for those that are anti-working with government, the arguments are usually that when you go with government, they give money, what government does always share money, and that always divides the house, you understand? So now, on the other hand, those that feel that they should not engage directly think that, okay, well, we can give them a document to work with, and if in future government need diaspora to help, they can request to a body like NIDO, which you're rightfully a member, and like, oh, we need a nuclear science, we need an IT, cybersecurity expert, and they will donate it. So you have two divergent views, like I've always said, both patriotic, but the approach is different. Do you think we can reconcile this, or you think one is better than the other?
Everybody has their reason. It's like saying, which one is a good government between capitalism and socialism? I mean, a capitalist believes it's good, a socialist believes it's good, but there is one thing about it. You will not see government of America condemning that of the Britain. You see the government of Britain condemning back government of America because that you are too capitalistic. They have respect for individual opinion, and we should see ourselves that way because everybody has reasons for their opinion. However, by the time we have a common goal that want to achieve something, that goal will be the bridge. We cannot all agree on it. We cannot all be on the same page. Somebody that has been beaten severally by working with Nigerian government and people in government in Nigeria will not want anything to have to do with government of Nigeria or people working with, or the government officials of Nigeria. But at the same time, it can be done without working with government, but it can be done better working with government. So, and like I said, we shouldn't wait for the perfect time. Whatever we can do at a time, we should start doing it. When you do something today, you know it better, you know the terrain better. And by the time you do it tomorrow, you do it better than what you do today. And when people see things happening, you start seeing people having a change of mind. And even the government, they want to associate with success. So
That's true.
we may not need to wait for government to start, but we should have it at the back of our mind that ultimately we want to work with the government, because it is better to work with government than not to work with government.
Fantastic. We have been talking to Alhaji Akeem Bello. He's a philanthropist. He's also a politician. He was former deputy gubernatorial candidate back then for Alliance for Democracy. He's a very successful businessman in real estate, in logistics. He has invested heavily in America. He's invested heavily in Nigeria. He's a man that can bridge the gap, that can bring America and Nigeria together. He's a member of NIDOA. He's an ambassador of the Atlanta chapter, and I'm sure in future he will readily be an ambassador for all Nigerians in diaspora. He has shed so much light on the issue. We need to engage with the government. Doesn't matter whether you are pro direct engagement or indirect engagement, the word engagement still appears. And Nigeria is a country where you have to believe in, according to him, because no matter how bad things are, you don't have two countries. And the potentials are really there, and which we all agree. Things might not be going as well as we think, but, it's there. He's also the chairman of the NIDOA Atlanta chapter radio and TV group. So you can see that he's already invested in getting things done, and he made reference to chambers of commerce. That shows he's a businessman. He believes we need to have a database for all Nigerians, just like the Indians have been doing. And India is a fantastic reference for us, multiracial, multi-ethnic, multi-diverse, fantastic population, 1.2 billion Indians in the world today. There's never been a coup in India. So that's why I agree with him, in this discussion that India is a parameter and yardstick, for measuring what should be done vis-a-vis Nigeria. But my next question to you, Alhaji, is that the NIGERIAN board is supposed to be composed of 15 people in all, 8 of which is supposed to be members of the Nigerian Diaspora Organization. And these positions have not yet been filled. Now, I'm putting this to you. Do you have any effort you can make on your own to make sure that these 8 positions are filled as soon as possible? Because a lot of people believe that if these positions are filled, it will hasten the interaction, the engagement between the Nigerian government and the diaspora contingent. Do you think we should hasten that getting on? Do you think all hands should be on deck to make sure that those nominees are collected and put on the board as soon as possible?
Oh, yeah, I believe so. The boards are the think tanks, and there should be a board in place, because 2 good days are better than 1. And I believe that NIDO should officially engage with the commission and ask questions about why the board has not been constituted, and look into what the problems are and find ways around resolving the problem. But there should be formal engagement with the commission. As NIDO should write a letter to the commission, engage, probably send delegation to have conversation with the commission. It could be via Zoom, it could be physical meeting, to discuss this matter and know what the problems are, because problems will hardly solve themselves. Sometimes they do over time, but it hardly happens. It is when people move to solve problems that problems get resolved. So I believe there should be that move to get the problem resolved.
You are timber and caliber, no doubt. In America, you have invested heavily. Nigeria, you have invested overwhelmingly. There's no government that is in Nigeria that won't be your friend one way or the other, just because of your achievement. You rightly said that government will always recognize a good thing. So based on what I said earlier, can you on your own make effort, or will you be ready to make an effort to actualize that these positions are filled in the NIGERIAN board, the diaspora quota? Or is there anything you think you can do on your own?
On my own, as Abdulakim Bello, there is little or nothing I can do. But if assigned to engage with the commission, it's a different ballgame. I'll be approaching the commission. I might have friends in the commission. Yes, there's no doubt. But I can't go to them and be talking as Abdulakim Bello. But if I have the mandate, say, okay, go and open up this conversation, then we can try and see how it goes.
Interesting. I like that. You don't have, if you're mandated to, which was the question, and you'll be willing to do that. So we know that already. Okay, Alaji, let's talk politics a bit. Now, we still have a case in Supreme Court and all that. There's still people that are grieved and all that. In your own opinion, if the Supreme Court rules, do you think that everybody should let sleeping dog lie and foster work towards the development of Nigeria? And what advice do you have to other parties that are not supporting the government of the day? What do you think should be the end game? Because the country is suffering.
The people that are not supporting government of the day, they have a reason and they have a fear. That reason and the fear should be addressed by the government of the day. I mean, most people that are not positively disposed to this government are from the southeastern part of the country. And their reason is because they claim over the time that there had been marginalization. Whether that is very true or not, they are entitled to their opinion. And it should not be trashed. It should be addressed. There should be engagement. That is the fear. The reason for not being positively disposed to this government was because they had hope that one of their own will emerge as the president. On that, I will want to appeal to them that politics in the first place is a game of number, and we should approach politics with spirit of sportsmanship. Because you lose a match at the end of the day, the score line is 7-3, for example, you cannot say the entire match is not good. The moment you score 3 goals, they were good. The moment you lose 7 goals, they are not good, but it's the same match. A sportsman will look at it and plan for the next match. How do I make it so that I'm not going to be at this position in the next match? And you move on. We should all know that the same way everybody loves football, soccer in Nigeria, we should love Nigeria and see Nigeria as an entity. If it doesn't work this time around, it can work another time. And government should do everything to avoid a situation where they will manifestly show to the people that winner takes all. They should let them know that, yes, by virtue of number of votes, we are in this position today, but that does not mean you are not stakeholders. Let's do it together. So there should be those engagements. And going forward, everything that will create doubt in the system should be addressed. I sincerely and honestly believe that President Tinubu won that election. But the INEC created opportunity for people to doubt the system. I know for certainty that not many people will vote for a Peter Obi anytime, any day in Sokoto, in Kano, in Kebbi, in Jigawa, in Maiduguri. And these are where bulk of votes come from. They vote in the north like a religion. In the south, most of the elitistic part of the southern people, they don't vote. And again, there were divisions. The people of Southeast and South majorly voted for Peter Obi. That is where PDP ordinarily will get their votes. There was further division by the G5 governors that didn't support their candidate. The Peter Obi that people of Southeast majorly supported did not cross the Niger, per se, except for the Christian-dominated part of across the Niger. So when you look at all of these indices, there is the tendency, there is the possibility that Bola Tinubu truly won the election. But there should be engagement and talk to everybody and let us see Nigeria as one and move on. And the next dispensation, the next election, INEC should do whatever they can to make sure that the processes are very transparent beyond doubt. When you see things, I mean, in America, there are still people that are claiming till tomorrow that Biden did not win election, but the transparency did not let them have any say. You can just be talking, you can be saying whatever you want to say, but the system is so transparent. Where they needed to recount election vote, they did. So INEC had a provision to review and to do all of those things. When next time, let INEC do everything to make sure everybody is carried along, so that anybody that loses the election will know that they are losing on a platform of truth and not manipulation. So yes, there is no election that will not have some scores of, pockets of violence and issues here and there. But when you total all of these things together, what percentage compared to the total number of votes can they, if they happened otherwise, affect the eventual outcome of the election? I sincerely don't believe so. But notwithstanding, every Nigerian has right to his opinion, and we should engage with people and talk to them. We should not trash anybody, because we have to be united, be able to form a united front. If you are not united, we cannot have a united front. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the two core things from those that don't support or against the election or the result are very straightforward. I think number one is INEC. You mentioned that, which we all agree, INEC was not transparent. Over 350 billion, and more than half of that money was supposed to be expended on technology, which it did. And the technology was said not to have worked. I mean, that's enough grounds for anger. I think the other issue there is that, compared to when Shagari won in the second term, Shagari had 47% of total vote cast, and Awo and the rest still litigated it. But this time around, President Tinubu had 37% of total vote count. And, he won 12 states, Atiku won 12 states, Obi won 11 plus FCT, which is technically 12, and Kwakwaso won 1. So the argument really is that 37% is not a pan-Nigeria mandate, but then it is what it is. I will see how the Supreme Court rules. So my final question to you, Alhaji, is on economics. Nigeria economy seems to be nosediving. The last 8 years have not been fantastic under President Buhari. I'm sure we all agree. You're a businessman, you're an entrepreneur. I know you have very good investment in both countries. You have your eye set on what is happening back home. You're looking at the exchange rates. I don't know if you're happy or not happy, but the dollar and the naira exchange rate is not looking very good. Now, as a businessman, what will you advise the government of the day to do? How do you think they should address all the economic issues in Nigeria right now? Because I'm sure you have an idea of what you think they should do based on your pedigree and your acumen. So that'll be my last question to you. How do you think President Tinubu and his economic team should address the economic situation in Nigeria? Over to you.
I'm not happy. So because you asked me, you don't know if I'm happy or I'm not happy. I'm not happy.
Nobody is. Nobody is.
You see, anybody that understudies President Tinubu the way he does these things, he doesn't look at temporary solutions. He's always looking at permanent solutions. But I want to appeal to him in this case to look at temporary solutions, mid-term solutions, and permanent solutions. It should be short-term, mid-term, and long-term. Nigeria is driven on import and petrol and diesel. America has electricity. Britain has electricity. Most Nigerian industries, the medium, the big, and the small scale, even the people who have just grinding machines, they are using petrol. They are using diesel to run generators. Once the prices of petrol and diesel goes up, Nigeria is in crisis. And because these items are imported for now, once the exchange rate goes up, Nigeria is in crisis. So when you want to solve the problem of Nigeria in the immediate, you cannot leave Naira to free force of demand and supply. We do not have what it takes to stabilize Naira on a free force of demand and supply. Economics 101 will let everybody know that when demand is higher than supply, the price goes up. That is what is happening to Naira. We don't have enough inflow to balance the trade. We have deficit balance of trade. When you have deficit balance of trade, you cannot afford to let your currency, the value of your currency, be determined by free force of demand and supply. It's going to be a disaster like we're seeing now. Secondly, a country's currency is very, very key and strategic to the security and sovereignty of that state. When the UK was in the European Union, They never allowed the euro to take over the UK system. They guarded their currency. They didn't leave it to forces of the. You can come to UK and spend euro. You can go to Saudi and spend dollar instead of real. In fact, they spend real like you spend. They spend dollar like you spend real. When you buy something in dollar, they give you change in real. They give you change in dollars. The same thing in Dubai. But that does not mean that they leave their currency to free force of demand and supply. In fact, that is helping their currency. And I don't know why Nigerian government is not looking at it. Nigerian government is not facing reality. What is happening within the system? All those government officials, they want to collect money. They want to collect this. They are collecting dollars. They don't collect naira. So the demand for dollar for foreign trade is on the high side. Demand for dollar in the black world, the black market world. What I mean by black market world is not the parallel exchange market. The bribery and settlements. In fact, when you even want to give the old people money, like my mom when she was alive, you give her, dollar was 500 naira to a dollar before she died. If you give her, that means a 50,000 naira will be $100, right?
Yes,
if you give her 100,000 naira, she doesn't appreciate it like when you give her $100.
Okay.
So, this is foreign currency.
It carries more weight.
So not knowing that the $100 is half the value of the money you have given her in naira. So if our people have this mentality, excuse me, why all the bottlenecks? When you losing this thing, when you remove all these bottlenecks, there are plenty of dollars in Nigeria that are stuck in sockaway, stuck in untold places that people are afraid to bring out. When you remove all these bottlenecks, they will bring this money out. They will dilute this scarcity situation. And if Saudi can do it, Dubai can do it. In China, you can spend dollar when you get there. Nobody is going to ask you not to spend your dollar. They give you change, either in dollars or in yuan. So why are we creating a bottleneck from where did they get it? That bottleneck is number one problem. They should let people, it's an offense in Nigeria now. They say you cannot spend anything that is not, any currency that is not legal tender in Nigeria, this and that. But who among them is not spending dollars? Even the presidential primaries, we saw what happened. Everything was dollarized. Why are we deceiving ourselves? Let people freely spend their dollars. As they are spending dollar, it is exchanging hands, dollars will be in circulation. That does not affect the value of naira. The fact that you spend dollar in China does not change the value of yuan. The fact that you spend dollar in Saudi Arabia does not change the value of real. So these bottlenecks, they should do whatever strategy they can put in place to control this exchange rate, even if it means this thing I'm talking about. Once the exchange rate comes down, you start seeing everything normalizing in Nigeria. It's an import-dependent economy, and that does not change overnight. It's something that you plan for about 10 years before you start seeing the result.
We are the only, today in the world, Nigeria is the only oil-producing country that doesn't have a functional refinery. I think Buhari commissioned Dangote, which we all know is not working. We have about 4, the 2 Warri, Port Harcourt, that's LMA, and Kaduna. They're all not functional. I know they've said that Port Harcourt will come online maybe December or January, but we've heard this throughout Buhari's time, the 8 years of Buhari, some very crazy and obnoxious amount of money was spent every year for turnaround maintenance, even before Buhari. So it does look like the refineries are just a means of wasting money. Now, the question I ask is this. You've said, yes, if we allow dollar a free reign, like it's done in Saudi Arabia or Dubai, yeah, it probably won't have the effect it does have now. But we're not even meeting our OPEC quota on export because people are stealing, bunkering and all that. That's also an area we should look at. And the refineries are not working. What advice do you have for the government in that regard? Because we also have to meet our OPEC quota. We need to have functional refinery because if we do, we won't need to import a refined product, and that also will help the strain on the naira.
We are overemphasizing this oil thing. Yes, we should fix that. That is what we have now. Well, we should look out of the box. Vietnam is not exporting crude oil. While Nigeria was struggling with about $37 billion revenue, Vietnam made over $200 billion revenue from a non-oil export. Nigeria can do a lot better than all of this. But all of this, they are mid-term, long-term. In the immediate, Nigerian government should do whatever they can. If this government can manage exchange rate, it's already successful. Because prices of things will come down, the situation will calm. You cannot be micromanaging a macroeconomy like Nigeria. You cannot be creating bottlenecks here and there. You should be creating tributaries, not to be locking them up. When you have money and you know that you will not even be able to freely send your money out, your hard-earned money, do you want to keep that kind of money in that economy? By crook or cranny, you want to get the money out because you want to use your money. When you have an economy that you know you don't even need to work. 2 months ago, some people took billions of naira to buy dollars at 700 naira. Today, they can walk to the same market and sell at 1,000 naira, 1,000 plus. So on a billion naira investment, is going to be making 300 million naira or more in less than 2 months. And you want to tell that person that the price of rice has gone up, the price of petrol has gone up. How much is price of petrol? How much is a bag of rice? So as long as you give people this kind of opportunity, and they are doing that because they know that that money is in high demand and there is no supply of it. But by the time you remove all the bottlenecks, everybody throws their money out. Whatever they can do to work on the exchange rate, that is the most important job for the president now and his team. Once they are able to do that, Nigerians will listen to them, whatever other thing they want to talk about. Because the way the thing is going, very soon they will not be able to manage.
It just goes out of hand.
And once it goes up again, there will be crisis that the government will not be able to manage. And there is no way it's not going to happen if they do not control that exchange rate. Because the product is imported now. The product is imported. So whatever they can do, this is the national security emergency as we speak now. Any other thing they are looking at for tomorrow, next week, next year, like Sidney Sheldon, that is if tomorrow comes.
I like that. Thank you, Alhaji Bello. We've been talking to Alhaji Abdulhakeem Oyeni Bello. He's a prince. Yes, he's a philanthropist. He's a Muslim Islamic philanthropist. He has also done for a lot of Christian organizations. He plays golf. He's a member of the IBB golf course. Alhaji Akibelo was former deputy gubernatorial aspirant for AD in Osun State. He is a realtor. He's into construction. He's big in Houston, big in Atlanta, big in Nigeria. He's a bridge builder. He believes we must engage, whether directly or indirectly, there must be engagement, and has also offered to help, if mandated by NIDO Americas or NIDO in the world, to mediate in how the board positions that's supposed to be to belong to NIDO is people are restricted. He said he knows the people, he can do it, but cannot do it in isolation. He must be mandated. We'll look into that because Nigeria has to move forward. Nobody is happy. He is not happy. I'm not happy. Nobody is happy with the exchange rate. Nobody is happy with the economy of Nigeria. He gave a fantastic example in Vietnam. These are countries that not compared to Nigeria in the past, but today they're making so much money off oil. So we are clearly behind schedule, but for Nigeria to get out of this morass and abyss, there has to be a united front, irrespective of who is the president. We have to be like the Indians and the Jews. We need to help ourselves. We need to stop claiming achievement in isolation. We need unity. We need to at least trust ourselves, stay away from the bad ones. There are good ones you can trust, in Alaji's words. So thank you. It's still Atlantic Discourse. Alaji, thank you for coming. We're going to call you again. You have spoken very well, highly intelligent. I've met you before, so I know a lot of your ideas. 1 hour is never enough time to talk to people like you, but we'll also bring you back. The topic is how the Nigerian diaspora contingent can engage the Nigerian government productively. And Alaji has said it all. We need to engage at all costs. So thank you, Alaji, for coming. Do you have any parting shot for our viewers?
Yes, thank you for having me. My parting shot would be that you have said so many things. It's big in this, it's big in that. He has done this, he has done that. I'm only big in one thing.
So,
and that is I'm only big in learning. I'm always willing to learn. That's the only thing I know I'm very good at. So every other thing will have been exaggerated, with due respect.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
I like your modesty. Is ready to learn. Ready to learn. We're all ready to learn. We're all workable. Thank you very much, Alaji. God bless you. Bye.
Amen. Amen. Thank you.